What a get. 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 This is amazing right here.
Pinch. What's up, Leo? Good morning. Quick little Beyond the Court special. Yeah, cheers. I mean, I had my coffee already.
It's not Guinness, by the way. It's straight up coffee.
This is just straight up water. You know, we usually, when we do these impromptu, especially on a Friday, you know, the numbers aren't what we're used to at Beyond the Court. We also don't have Simone. We don't have Simone, full transparency. But
let her sleep in.
You know, I made a little post and already is getting some traction. So, of course, I call my boy, Jonathan Clay, our boy. I said, can we jump on live? Let's set the record straight. And let's bring him in, Leo.
Yeah, let's bring him in. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for short notice taking the time. We just wanted to bring you in. And like Sudsy said, hear it from you straight. But first, before we get to all that, how are you, man? How's Rollout? What's going on over there? You look busy.
Good. Everything's good. Yeah, super busy. Obviously, the business has changed over the years. You know, we were in racquetball a long time. We pivoted into pickleball a couple years ago. Been doing a lot in that. Haven't forgotten the racquetball side of things. We still have the business. We still have a lot of clients. We're still printing shirts for tournaments around the country. We still work with some of our players. You know, just as life changes, the business changes. And, you know, I have a almost 3-year-old at home now. So it's a wild time, but everything is good. I have no complaints.
Leo, you got some Treasure Coast Tournament Series shirts. You know, that's Jonathan. Those are all Jonathan still. He's got the nice spot right here, too. Our upper left chest.
Yep.
The rollout.
We're almost on number 9, right?
We are on number 9. Actually, after this, we're going to talk about it because we got to order some shirts. I think we got over 50 already. But Leo and I were going to work to get like 75 because we have a 4-court facility.
Nice.
So, yeah, we'll get some more shirts. But Jonathan, thanks for taking the time. You know, you and I have been friends for a long time, and obviously have done a lot of business. And you know, I made a little post this morning just to add some excitement to what's going on in our sport. And already, so many people are you know, commenting and jumping in. And like the biggest thing I want to just put to rest right now, and then we're going to let you, you know, really talk about it. Leo, you're going to take control of this discussion. But hey, let's be clear, everyone. We are not starting a new professional tour. This is not a tour. This is not a new tour. Stop it. Stop the nonsense. Stop the drama. It's not a new tour. All right. I'm going to actually shut up, Jonathan. I know you know that's not that easy for me.
No,
I'm going to let
Leo.
Really. Yeah, you too. But that's why it's good. So the only one we need now is Michelle Key, and then nobody will get a word in. Leo, your show, buddy. There's no Simone. Take it from here.
You know, let's just get right down to it. You know, this is something that Jonathan is, there's a reason that Jonathan is on here, because you two have started talking about this way before anyone even thought about it. So Jonathan, can you take us back to maybe how it started and what you were thinking, and then maybe fast forward and bring us up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as most of you hopefully know, I've been in the sport of racquetball for a long time, and it's no secret that going back maybe 4 or 5 years, my involvement changed, and I did start to pivot over from a business standpoint into something new, and I think a lot of the rumor mill or the talk was that I was leaving racquetball. I didn't like racquetball. I was disillusioned with racquetball, and a lot of that is true. I did have a lot of kind of bad taste from racquetball, not because of the sport, but because of where I saw the sport going. And I always saw the potential for the sport. I love the sport, still love it to this day, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I had to do different things. But going back to late 2020, early 2021, something came across my life in pickleball called Major League Pickleball, which was a team competition that sort of set that sport on fire. And at that point, it was the best sports product I had seen in my racquetball and then pickleball life so far. And I had the idea instantly. I was like, this is perfect for racquetball, and what I had been seeing in racquetball for a long time was everything that was being done, from every tournament to every sponsor to every event to every this, that, and the other thing, was all the same. Everything's the same. To this day, all I see is the same stuff over and over and over being rinsed and repeated. And to me, this was something new and fresh and different. So I said, we got to bring this to racquetball. So I filed the trademark. I bought the URL. I did all like the back end stuff. Then I just kind of sat on it for a little bit. And then Sudsy and I had a conversation, and we started talking about the idea a little more seriously and started putting some kind of details around it, rough details, and then Sudsy actually went out to a Major League Pickleball event, saw it in person. I think, did you call me like from the sidelines, I think
it was instant. Yeah. I mean, I just said, yep. I said, this is long overdue. You're absolutely right. You had this idea a couple of years ago, and I just never really was able to taste it. And then once I did, I mean, it was literally instant. It was when I was walking in the event, I think I called you.
Yeah. And it's just infectious. And I think, at this point in our sport, I don't want to say I hate using the term that it's dying, but it is dying. Let's all be realistic, but it doesn't have to. But to me, there's only two ways to change the side of the sport, to change the sport from its dying perspective. One is infrastructure, which I'm not the person to do. You're not the person to do. We're not at that position to change infrastructure. Or you inflood the sport with something cool and different that brings new eyeballs. That's what I think this could do. Because what I do believe in racquetball is we have a great kit of parts. The sport is great. There's athletic elements of it that are great. There are athletes, there are players, pro players that are great. So inside the sport, there are things that, if repositioned and put in different terms and different avenue, could be something that catches eyeballs. This, to me, is that different thing that could bring the sport out of its decline. Is it? I have no idea. But for me, at this point, I've kind of said this to you, Sudsy, before, as we've talked about some ideas in racquetball, is if I'm going to do something in racquetball, it's got to be different. It's got to be cool. And it's got to kind of be, I always say my way. Now, my way is our way. We're a team in this, but I just use the term my way. I'm going to do it my way or not. And that means if the sport doesn't like it, I don't care. If a player... if a player can't be, and we have no idea what player is going to be a part of this yet, but if player A can't be involved in Major League Racquetball because of, okay, no problem. If we want to work, we're not starting a new tour. You keep saying it, I'll keep saying it. We're not starting a tour. If the tours want to work with us, great. It's awesome. If they don't, okay. If USA Racquetball wants to work with us, awesome. If they don't, no problem. But they're going to work with us my way. Once again, our way. This is how it's going to be. It's a vision. You can't do things the way things have always been done. You have to have a vision, carry it out. And I'll be the first person. If this thing tanks and doesn't go anywhere in 2 years, I'll get back on right here and say, you know what? We did it our way. It didn't work. I have no problem with that. Not everything's going to work in business. I think this is a good idea. You think this is a good idea. We're going to bring it to life, hopefully launch it in summer of 2024 and see where it goes.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that think it's a good idea. Jonathon, as you know, we've shared this idea with a few others. inside the sport that we believe, would be interested, that might be interested in being part or a team owner. For anyone that doesn't know, I think, Jonathan, it'd be better for you to explain the Major League Pickleball, the way actually those events are run. And again, I think it's ideal and perfect, but a quick rundown of how teams are owned and the concept and the idea behind them.
Yeah, and I should preface this by saying, this idea, it's very much not reinventing the wheel. It's a stolen idea, and I'll be the first to admit it. It's a great concept. We may change some details and rules along the way to fit our sport, but the framework of it is going to be very similar. So you have individual teams. The teams are of 4 players. Could that be 6? Maybe, we'll see. But it's probably teams of 4, 2 men, 2 women. There's team owners that buy in and own, whether it's going to be a location-based team or they name it themselves. They have their own branding. It's their own standalone team within the league. Players will be invited / added into a draft that then the owners will be able to draft their team from that pool of players. And there's going to be a whole way we have to figure out how the draft works. But what's cool about that concept is, like, we watch an IRT event or an LPRT event. Everybody plays with the same partner. It's always the same matchups. We're going to watch the same match 400 times if we're racquetball fans. Well, now those partners are not partners anymore. It's going to be all based on a draft. You're going to have to draft based on what players are going to work well with who. Another question that's going to come up is, well, we're going to have it's all the best players going to do this. I don't know. Maybe some of the best players aren't the best team players. I don't know.
Or the best for the idea or concept, or
the best for the idea
or what we're trying to present to the world, like you said, outside of our little 5%ers that play events. This is to really put racquetball on a stage to say, check us out.
Exactly. So, what we're going to see with this are matchups and matches that we've probably never seen before. I mean, I would venture to say that the majority of the matches you will watch, you have not seen on an IRT or an LPRT event. Maybe once in a while by stroke of luck. I
agree.
More than likely, it's going to be complete matchups, different strategies. You're going to have to adapt to different partners. There's
personalities.
There's going to be mixed doubles, men's, women's, mixed. So there's a lot of intermingling of players that you'll have never seen before.
Man versus woman.
Could be man versus woman in a single
dream breaker.
Yeah. Well, we can't say dream breaker. That's trademarked.
That is.
But we're not using anything trademarked.
We're not using any trademark.
Nope.
But that's what's really cool is you see when you turn this on. My goal and my vision, once again, I don't want to speak for you, but I think I do. When
you can, yes, you are speaking. Go ahead.
When someone watches this, I want them to leave, whether they liked it or hated it. I want them to say, this was different than anything else I've seen in racquetball. You can then make your decision, which is how I run my business. You can say, I saw it was different, just not for me. There's people in pickleball that say that. There's pros in pickleball that don't like playing Major League Pickleball events. That's fine. There's players that wait all year long for the 6 events in that. That's fine too. But the main thing, and I'm going to say it again, and I don't want to be duplicative here, but it's important. It's going to be different than anything you've ever seen. The product will be different. The matches will be different. I'm hoping the way it's streamed and televised will be different. It's going to be a new vision that no one has seen. And hopefully it can be something that helps rise the tide of the other ships of the sport, and pulls them along.
Yeah, let's take some. So I know there's some people online watching. I said hi to some people. If you have some questions for Jonathan, Sudsy, or I, now's the time to put them in the chat. And while we wait for some questions, I went to the very first MLP event, the inaugural event. It was here at Dripping Springs, and I thought it was fantastic. I was new to pickleball, and following MLP, I still follow MLP. In fact, I had the privilege and the honor to share some barbecue nachos with Steve Kuhn. I had no idea who the guy was. No idea, because I'm new to pickleball, and I'm at his place in Dripping Springs. And I've seen this guy all over Instagram and Facebook.
Well, tell everybody who Steve Kuhn. Tell everybody, because most don't know who he is. Jonathan or Leo.
Jonathan, tell him I got to grab my power cable.
So Steve Kuhn's the founder of pickleball. He came up with the idea. It's his baby. He essentially had a conversation very similar to what we're having right now, saying he wants to change the sport in his image. And he believes that this is the most televisable and growable product that can be created. So he founded this thing, put his money and his resources behind it. And he's, at this point now, Steve Kuhn is the single most important grower of the sport of pickleball.
Really, and he's like a billionaire, isn't he? Some crazy.
He's got more than me. That's all I know.
Yeah, and so Leo, you knew about Steve Kuhn. You know, Jonathan, that was interesting. I didn't know that. He pretty much had a conversation just like this. He said that he wanted to see something different happen, and then he created Major League Pickleball. Correct?
Yeah.
So,
and what's amazing is, like Leo just said, he went to his first event. I had watched them all on live feed on TV, and I was able to go to one in Columbus last year. And I went out there with no plan. I went out there to try and have some meetings. I had some conversations, but I would say 80% of the time I ended up being there as a fan.
Yeah.
And this is something, like, I've been in racquetball at a pretty high level for 20 years. I'm pretty jaded when it comes to like watching pro racket sports. And within an hour of watching a qualifier match at this thing, I was like a kid. I was like, it
took me 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it actually reminded me, like, I remember going to my first racquetball tournaments when I was playing in like the
Exactly.
C's and D's. And
Exactly.
like, there guy, Joe Palazzo, who Sudsy, when I was in college, Joe Palazzo came to me. Like, I didn't know any better. So and when I would go to these tournaments, I would lose first round of everything. And I would just sit in front of the main show court and I would just watch him and the other open player. I would just watch him like a kid, going to that Major League Pickleball event. I had that same feeling. Like, I could just sit here. I'm good. I'll get my beer. I'll get my notch. I'm just sitting here and enjoy myself all day and just have fun. It's infectious.
If you go, if you listen to anything that Steve Kuhn says, and he's, you can Google him, you can YouTube him, his message is the same. He's trying to make these events for the fans, not so much the players. Like you said, Jonathan, some of the pro players are like, rally scoring. No. Okay, well, you come and you do what MLP does, or you don't get drafted. You don't get put in that pool.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, all of us are saying the same message. I had so much fun. I hung out all day long, watching the draft, who was going to play each other. It's a team concept. It's so much different than going to other pickleball tournaments where they're like racquetball. It's kind of like every man for himself, or it's either doubles. So, hey, like Steve Kuhn said, anything to make the game better, and he's doing it. So why not model after what a billionaire is doing?
I have a quick announcement.
Sure.
I mean, while we're sitting here, guys, I think everyone out there knows him, Keith Miner, KWM Gutterman.
Absolutely.
Keith Miner, who's saving the sport, who's kind of our Steve Kuhn and a personal friend as well. I asked him if I could repeat what he texted me, and he said, "This will happen." So,
period.
There you go, racquetball world. You know where I come from, and my experience with Keith Miner and how KWM operates. And I know, Leo, you have a lot of experience with Keith. Jonathan, I'm not sure. I believe you would too. That's it. I mean, that's kind of the stamp of approval from the Godfather, our Steve Kuhn. And like Jonathan said, our idea, Jonathan, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan's one of the people, Leo, that I allow to slap me and say, "Hey, be quiet for a second." Summer of 2024, and can we say we're aiming Chicago?
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. But that's the idea. That's the concept. Keith Miner blessing it ultimately. And again, this is not a tour. It's an event.
No.
It's an idea. It's a concept. It's going to be kick-ass. Jonathan, full disclosure, spoke to Sam Murray, Jake Bredenbeck, Sam Bredenbeck in Denver, just kind of gave them a little taste of this, and they loved it. So
listen, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any players who wouldn't like this. We
talked about that, though. The first question, how much am I making? Relax.
Listen, and in a perfect world, all that's going to come. But once again, the point of this is, and I think this is another good point to make, we're at a situation in racquetball where we need to work together. Now, I just said something that's going to make like most heads spin in racquetball because nobody works together. Hot take. Everyone hates each other. No one works together, and it's a big, crazy sport that's why we're in the position we're in. So my goal, and I'm not even going to speak for anyone else other than me, my goal is to work with everyone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm going to work with you your way. Now we're gonna make a collaborative relationship. It's gonna work together. But if you can't be a part of this, okay. But the goal is I want to, whatever we have court stickers up or whatever signage. I want USA Pickleball, USA Racquetball, IRT, LPRT, War, Free Wall, whatever. I want everyone involved. I want this to be a few time a year pilgrimage of racquetball.
Racquetball, exactly.
Everything comes together.
For the fans.
Here's the other thing. There's no amateur tournament.
Yeah, talk about that, because, you know, lay it out there. You know, Jonathan, we talk about this often, and as important as it is and nice to have the people at the event, Leo, we know we're one of our issues is the space we have. So if you're there on site at our event, it's going to be VIP style, and Jonathan and I we're not going to do anything that isn't top shelf. You know,
it's a fan experience. This is a pure fan experience. If you're coming to this thing, you're coming to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go to the club later and play, great. You know, this isn't a situation where, oh yeah, I'm going to watch the guys play or the girls play, and then a few minutes into it, like, oh, you know, John Clay called the court 3 to play your no.
You could watch it. We're going to certainly, you know, pump it out and shoot it out, because optically, Jonathan, you know, we want it on every screen, whether it's a mobile device or a home YouTube. So we're gonna invest some money in the production of it as well. But when you're there on site, it's kind of a party, but it's a VIP party.
Yeah.
And you're not playing. You're going to be loving the action between the athletes and coaches. And
listen,
I don't know how much you want me to say.
Where you forget needing to leave watching a match to go play yourself. I want you to not want to leave that side of that court, because you can't wait to see what happens. You know, and I think there's going to be some format changes that are going to be different than this whole thing is going to be different. You know, but I think the changes we make will create an atmosphere where it's just exciting. That's like one of the things that's exciting about the Major League Pickleball style is a blowout of a match is fun to watch.
I noticed that. It's funny you said that. Leo, you've watched more pickleball than me, not going to lie, no doubt. But that is accurate. I saw somebody get their ass kicked, and it was still cool.
Yeah, like, Leo, did you watch the last Super Final?
Yes.
So the last Super Final, not to get too inside pickleball, because I know that makes racquetball people's heads spin.
Oh, just go for it.
But the last Super Final, which was the Super Bowl of it, if you want to call it that, was a 3-0 rout. And it was probably the most entertaining match I watched in the whole entire Major League Pickleball weekend, because of the format. It's really creative in how it's put together. And like I said, we're going to steal some of it, flip a couple things for racquetball to make it work. But that the format is what makes it cool. And
I agree.
And going back to the point that, Leo, you made, if you ask a lot of the pro pickleball players, do you like the format of Major League Pickleball? They're going to tell you no. Yeah. Because it's horrible for the players. They do play rally scoring, but it's a much more well thought out rally scoring than what we do in racquetball. It's horrible because every match is close. So every match is like high tension. So that for the players, it's horrible because they're like always on, you know, anxiety level 11. But for the fan, you're never watching anything that's not boring.
Right. Because they're educated. They understand the you know what's at stake. They understand the bonuses. They understand the team concept. There's scoreboards everywhere. I mean, come on. We went to the event this weekend, and I was just wishing one of the tours had another scoreboard, just one more. You know, there's just so many things that make you engaged in the match. It's super fan friendly, even for me as a beginner. And that's what was at the top of Kuhn's mind was he also wanted new people like me to understand the game, to see what's going on. And if you know what's happening, like in racquetball, sometimes you look confused. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, you know, they make sure that the fans are aware. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I got a question though that's sticking out of my mind, and we're not a competing tour, but what about the top 8? The top 8 are under contract. So what do you think is going to happen there for the top 8?
Great question.
I'll start, John.
You probably don't want me to answer that question.
No, I'll say that hopefully the tours see that any type of an event, especially something with the vision, you know, that Jonathan and I are trying to put together for the fans, that it would make sense to permit any player in the world on any tour to be able to participate in a racquetball event, because it's Jonathan and I, as much as we would love to make a couple bucks, I think we both said, sadly, privately, sorry, Jonathan, you're not going to like this, if we make no money, we just want to put this event out there for everybody.
Yeah,
because
not for event one.
With the vision, right, with the vision and excitement that this will grow. And it's funny, Corey Osborne, thank you for offering your support over in Canada. But like, people are already saying, how do I buy a team? How do I get a team? I want to buy a team. Jonathan, I don't know if you want to touch on that. But as far as the players, Leo, hopefully, again, it's not a competing tour, it's an event. And I'm sure by that point, everybody will figure it out and work it out. And I know, Jonathan, I'll say the words for you. We don't necessarily need any player or ranking. It's about the concept, the competition, the excitement, what we're going to put on for the fans that are there, the players that are there, and everybody that sees it as we push it out into, social media and whatever other networks get involved. Jonathan, touch on the teams too. I got people asking me, how do I buy a team?
Yeah, so to touch on that, I'll actually touch on something else that, how I stole this from the Major League Pickleball concept.
Stop saying stole. I don't know if that's a good word to use.
Borrowed.
The best thing I think that Major League Pickleball did was they did something that the traditional racquetball mind would not do. In year one, they did one event.
Yeah.
In year two,
we talked about that.
They did, I believe it was 3 events.
3 or 4, yeah.
In year 3, they did 6 events. 6 events a year. That's it. A racquetball mind would be, we're going to do this. We're going to run 12 events next year. No. And I'm going to sell 50 teams. No, we don't know. We don't, as much as I believe in this, you believe in this. I think we have no idea what this thing will become. So what I know we can do is pull off a 4-team event next year in the summer, period. When that event is over, we reassess. And then maybe we go to 2 events. I have no idea. It's irrelevant at this point because we haven't done the first one. We could do the first one and the thing tanks and no one cares and we never do it again.
Not happening.
Not happening, but it could. I mean, listen.
Of course.
I could get hit by lightning right now. Anything could happen.
Sure.
But this is not a go big or go home type thing. This is a slow and steady type thing. So for year 1 in 2024, we've probably already sold the teams. I don't think we're gonna sell more teams. What I hope happens, and it's, that text message is a great example, that between now and the time the first event ends, people love this so much, we've got a waiting list, which is what Major League Pickleball has. They have a waiting list of team owners. And they
at millions, right? How much is a team now in Major League Pickleball?
The last team sold for $5 million.
Yeah, it started at 100.
100,000.
His first year, you could get in 100,000, and he's got some other nice built-in things to that. The players, ownership, they get stock.
Yeah,
in MLP.
Jonathan and I talked about that.
The winner, you had to win to get stock. Though.
The winner gets stocks. Yeah,
your winnings were a combination of prize money and stock options in the company. But that's the thing. Like you want to build demand for something. The traditional racquetball way of doing things is we have demand. Well, no, we don't. We don't have demand. we need to create this demand. I think an event like this can do so. And over time, we can develop this into an actual league, not a tour, a league. I think those two terms are very, very different. So right now, if you're interested in, being a team, contact one of us for sure.
ASAP. I'm pretty sure KWM already owns one, but that's such.
But I hate to break it to everybody. We're probably gonna say a lot of no's.
We are. We're not. We talked about this, Jonathan, and you're right. Like 4 teams max. There's going to be 4 team owners. We don't care. When we release all the details on how much a team is, you could have 10 owners on one team. We don't care. I mean, we're not going to be dealing with 10 people, but and it's just going to be exciting. And then you'll be vested in for year 2 and 3, and like Jonathan said, whatever it becomes from there. Steve Kuhn, is it Kuhn or Kuhn?
Steve Kuhn.
Kuhn, the way he modeled it, and the path he made. Yeah, we're gonna use a lot of that, and I love that. Jonathan, when we talked about it, I was like, well, how many of these a year? You're like, one. And I'm like, what this sounds familiar to for everybody? And Leo, U.S. Open, Doug Gannon, when he set out to do it, a couple of things Jonathan talks about, which I love. He says, we're going to work together, but ultimately we're going to do it my way being our way, Jonathan and I. The drop the mic moment, right, Jonathan? The Doug Gannon story, I tell it all the time. What's the most successful thing we've ever had in the history of racquetball? What event? It was the U.S. Open. Somebody else owned it. USA Racquetball owned it, but Doug Gannon did it his way. He ran it the way he wanted to. He didn't need approvals. He just did it and said, I'm responsible. I'm accountable. If it works, great. If not, it's on me. So yeah, I think it's going to be, it's exciting. It's fun. I just, Jonathan, with social media, I don't want people out there, we're starting a new tour. I called you this morning immediately. I said, I just want to make sure people know that this isn't a new tour. It's an idea. It's a concept.
I don't want to run a tour.
Nor do I, we both have 3-year-olds and I have a 5-year-old too. So chop.
To me, I hope this helps the tours.
Exactly. It gives them more. That's my thought too, is that we do this. Now all of a sudden people want to have tour events everywhere.
To me, there's ripple effects to all of this. One of the big things I think this can do, I don't want to say will do, but can do, is create a tremendous marketing platform for the athletes that are a part of it. And that is the one thing that racquetball has never understood. I've been saying it since I was 23 years old, but no one gets it. All these pro players and tours believe the product happens on the court. That is not pro sports anymore. The product happens outside the court just as much, if not more important, than on the court. So if this can create a platform for us to tell the stories of these players, help people see more personality of the players, that makes them potentially more marketable when they go back to their tours or their sponsors or whatever. So you mentioned like top 8. Well, oh my God, the top 8. What is a top 8 contract worth? I mean, it's a joke. It's nothing. So maybe we can make someone who's outside the top 8 as much or more valuable to the tour or sponsors than someone who is. Am I saying we're going to do that? No, but all of this is what can happen from something like this because it's different and outside the box. And to me, for me to get involved in anything racquetball anymore, that's the only way it happens. Different, outside the box.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, MLP did the same thing. They, PPA and APP probably felt a little threatened in the beginning, but Kuhn made it very clear. It's not a tour. This is how we do it. And then you saw things started to soften up. You saw MLP starting to partner with PPA and do some things together. And so, yeah, it's not a competition. It's not a WRT type back in the day. It's not. This is something totally different. It's not a tour. It doesn't have the name tour in it. International Racquetball Tour, Ladies Professional Racquetball Tour. This is a league with professionals done totally different. I mean, we're going to have players mic'd up. I mean, cameras are going to be all over the place. We're going to have scoreboard. It's a fan experience like you've never seen. I mean, even going back to the times of at NBA games at halftime, throwing out shirts to the crowd and prizes and getting the fans engaged. And, we have all these things running through our minds to make these events fan friendly. And you're right. There's nothing worse than playing in a tournament and having to go to another facility, but yet Conrado is about to play and you want to watch Conrado, but you can't because you got to go play your match. So I think it'll really bring the fans closer to the players.
Yeah. I mean, to put it in interesting racquetball terms, to kind of give people more of an idea of all the things we've been trying to hammer home, is this thing's not even sanctioned. There is no sanctioning for team competition.
Yeah.
This is a glorified exhibition. It's a show. It's really more of an entertainment-based show where racquetball is the meat of the show.
It's funny you say that, and Leo, we've talked about this a lot of times, and I've worn a couple different hats. It's time to Jonathan's point, we highlight and promote the individual and the individuals, or in this case, the teams. With that comes racquetball, which then hopefully is boom, awareness, right? I mean, we have some rock stars in our sport right now, models, actresses, Paola Longoria, I say it all the time, can absolutely one day run for president of Mexico, and that is no exaggeration. I was actually talking to her fiance, Jeff, about it this weekend, and we laughed, being from the United States how a racquetball player could be could run for president of the country, and he agrees fully. And I think that's the right way to go about that is you can't put the sport first and say, look at racquetball, and then, oh, by the way, look at these people. It's look at this event, look at this venue, look at optically, look what you see here. And then the sport will follow. Now, with that said, Jonathan and I, and Leo, marketing is going to be such a big part of this, which you're going to have a big part of too, is we are player first. One of the questions, Jonathan, you'll appreciate this. One of the players said to me, well, yeah, I mean, what's it going to cost us? I go, we're not going to let you spend 1 cent. You're not going to, it's not, if you're drafted onto a team or you're part of this, we're not going to let you put out $1. We know the struggles of a professional athlete. A professional racquetball player. Our hope and dream and desire for all of them is to become a Tyson McGuffin, an Annalee Waters, or even a sliver of what they are.
Yeah.
Ben Johns.
Ben Johns. I mean, I can't even imagine that. I'm not even going to think about that. But I would just be thrilled for as many professional racquetball players around the world to be able to make a solid living, take care of their family, have a future, and you know what? Then inspire others below them that aren't even there yet to continue and stay in the sport. And this is just an event. It's a concept, an idea. I know I'm guilty of sometimes really seeing big things, but I guess that's part of my wiring.
Keith Miner said it will happen.
Keith Miner said it. I have the text, Keith. Keith Miner's on. He's watching.
Screenshot that.
He said it will happen. And he also said this will be a game changer. He sent it. If he can text it, this is. You see this Game Changers, pickleball, and more. Jonathan, you're familiar, right?
Yep.
So this is Keith Miner's pickleball facility, and I don't know how much we want to talk about. I mean, we said Chicago. Should we just keep it rolling?
No, I mean, listen. The big thing, we can talk ideas and stuff. A lot of the details have not been ironed out. So let's be very clear to people. This is our way of saying this is coming.
It's coming.
There are 100 announcements to come as they come together.
At least.
Our goal is to do this in Keith's backyard in Chicago. Could something crazy come across all of our desks, Keith included, in a month from now that makes something? Who knows? But the goal is, yes, the goal is Chicago next summer, and then reassess from there. What players? Who knows? I would say anyone
Depends who gets drafted.
Yeah, but I would say anyone who's interested in this concept, whether it be a team owner, a player, a sponsor, anything, reach out to one of us. We're going to be in that phase right now of collecting information. Quite honestly, if someone contacted us like, hey, I want to sponsor this thing, we don't have a sponsorship package yet. So we don't even know what that looks like. So a lot of these details are going to come together, in the coming months. But the important thing is this is coming, and I think this has the opportunity to be, I'm going to be very bold with this statement, and I don't really care. I think this could be the biggest idea in racquetball since the U.S. Open.
Draft. I mean, there's never been a draft in the history of racquetball. So that's going to be the first thing. Yeah. Unheard of. I can't imagine how that's going to be. It's like for me with the MLP. I got the date marked. I've got my, I got my internet TV set up. I want to see who's going in the first round, who's going second, and then you're putting you're already in your own head, deciding who you want to see that team draft as their next player.
You're seeing fantasy drafts now. What's really cool about this.
I just won my fantasy baseball league, by the way. Just saying. So if you guys let me draft racquetball players,
watch out.
I have a good chance.
No, it's a conflict of interest. You can't be involved.
I know you and I are going to be working our asses off, and blood sweat. You too, Leo. Don't be laughing. You're working too. You're going to be busy. You know what else I can't wait, Jonathan, to see how we uniform everybody. Where
I think I know someone.
You're me too.
But wait. Everyone has racket contracts. Sorry.
It's not a competing. Does that need to be our tagline? It's not a competing tour.
My way.
Can you get us a couple of those shirts? Rob Lyons, thank you, Rob Lyons. I mean, there's so many people just, hey, maybe I can't buy a team, but anything I could do to help, and
sponsor
we appreciate that. reach out to Jonathan and I, Leo. We're all easy to get a hold of. And, Jonathan and I will certainly respond to everyone we can. As far as in reality, like we said, there'll be 4 teams at the onset, Jonathan. There's only going to be 4 teams. We've talked about this. We talked about 2 teams, 8 teams, and 4 is the number. The things we do know, right? You getting some messages already?
Yeah. I want a team. So
we haven't told you how much they cost yet.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I want a team. I'll buy one for $100. No.
Yeah, no, that's not the team we're talking about.
That's not this league.
Find yourself 100 friends.
Yeah, this is going to be, and the experience too on site is going to be spectacular. There'll be top shelf liquor. There'll be food. We'll have a DJ. We'll have somebody on the mic. It's going to be an experience. But again, like Jonathan said, you're not going to be playing, but
you're going to have
the court's up a little longer. Maybe we will have a little shootout when the event's over. Who knows?
I think the best word to describe this is for everyone there, whether you're on the court, on a team, or in the stands, we are going to deliver you an experience. That experience can have different tentacles of how you experience it, but you will have an experience. You will not just come sit in a chair and go home. That's not what this is. You will not just come as an athlete, hit a ball for a couple hours and go home, go back to the hotel. No, that's not what this is.
We won't do it. Right.
No, this will be an experience different than you've had before. And then it's up to everyone, fans, players, owners, social media coaches. You can then decide if it's something you like or not. Thanks.
Thank you.
UPS is here.
Yep. You got a raise. They're doing well, UPS. They're doing well.
That was actually FedEx. Sorry.
Oh.
But that's the thing. This is an experience, and it's going to be different. It's going to be our way, and like I said, I stand here right now and I make the commitment. If this thing doesn't work, I'll be the first to say it didn't work. We tried, but
I'll be with you.
I think no one else is willing to say, I want to try something because it might not work. I heard that so many times in racquetball as I was coming through it. We should try this. Yeah, but it's not how we've always done it. And it might not work. Okay. Well, it might work. We might learn something from it. Let's just try. Let's just try it, do our best, put our best idea forward, try it and see what happens.
Hey, my chat is not working. Simone is actually working. She messaged me and said, use your phone. So I opened up my phone. I want to ask Jonathan a couple of questions and said, you can chime in. Ivan Mendoza asks, why Chicago?
I would just say centrally located and from a travel standpoint and based on some helpful people who have texted in so far.
Keith Miner, the portable court, if we are able to use it.
There's a lot of assets in Chicago.
And of course, Game Changers, his facility is a perfect venue for it. If you're not familiar with it, go check it out online. But that would be ideal, and it'd be in the summertime, so it'd be beautiful. Yeah. And believe me, everything, Jonathan, our decisions, the way we go about it, it's going to be super, super detailed. We are very calculated.
And part of this is, in year one, yes, we will be raising money through team ownership, but this is going to be a bare bones way of pulling off a high level event. So anything that we can do to make it easier and more cost effective, we will. Chicago offers a lot of those opportunities.
Ariel Garcia in the chat says it's about quality, not quantity. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
is that the message 100%. You're trying to put out?
Yeah. I'd rather do one event. I'd rather do one event a year. That's the greatest thing you've ever seen, and have people wait a year for it.
I concur. Leo, let me just, because I like that you're reading these questions to Jonathan and I, it's important. Al Schaff, thank you. Jonathan, you know Al Schaff from New Orleans?
Big Al.
Elmwood Fitness Center, Big Al. Al said, New Orleans can support a team and has a great host facility. Does everybody understand what this event is? It's buying a team and owning the team to compete in the competition is different than hosting an event. Jonathan, you want to touch on that? Like exactly what it is.
Yeah, so owning a team, I think you should think of this like owning a team just like any other pro sport. You're gonna own it. Now in Major League Pickleball, the teams are location based. So there's like the New York Hustlers. Are we gonna do that? I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe that's what Al means, right? He said New Orleans can support a team.
Yeah, if you want the New Orleans Aces or whatever it is, that I'm 100% open.
We can discuss all of that.
Yeah, this is the big thing about something like I'm open to anything. You know, I love his text. I love the idea. I have no idea what the answer is yet because we haven't even gotten that far. You know, I can and from a host facility standpoint, yeah, I mean, we would be looking at all different host facilities, but I can tell you this. The conversation you will have with us regarding, you know, we have a host facility is very different than the conversation you will have with the IRT or the LPRT when you say we have a host facility. You know, I don't care if you have 12 courts and, you know, I need one great court. You know, and it's more, so it's just a different type of conversation. I love that people are interested, but I think they're going to find as they go through this with us, if they do, that the questions we ask and the things we're looking for are not what you're normally honed into thinking about.
Blake Lockwood has a question. Jonathan, will you sell subscriptions to watch the matches?
I'm going to speak on my own behalf here. If you want to watch online, my goal is it's free.
Me too. Yeah, we wouldn't want to sell it.
Yeah, are we going to sell tickets on site?
Yes. To be there, VIP, yeah.
VIP, yes.
You're getting a Grey Goose Martini, and you're going to watch Jake Bredenbeck blast the ball at my 107-pound wife in mixed doubles, and then after she rolls it out, she's going to come off the court, and she's going to give me a high – maybe not me a high five. She'll give Keith a high five, Jonathan a pound, get back in the court. So, that's the idea that that's what's going on up in this head. But, yeah, we wouldn't sell – if it's racquetball, we want everybody to see it.
The base of that, the answer to that question is I want to make this as accessible to as many people as possible to view it.
Exactly.
You know, whether that's on site or online, I don't want to make it difficult at all.
Good. All right. Any more questions? Type them in the chat before we go. This was strictly just to get on here really quick and stop any rumors or misinformation. This is not a competing tour. This is a fan-based league with professional players. Fair to say, Jonathan?
It's a professional racquetball experience.
Yeah.
Love it.
Suds, what do you think? I know that you wanted to get out here and put this information out there, but what else do you want the people to know about Major League Racquetball?
Yeah, Jonathan covered it great. It's for racquetball. It's for the racquetball players. It's not a professional tour. It's an exciting way to hopefully really put all the best players in the world that we know, that we're dear friends with, some family with. We're going to put them on a stage, and we're going to do something different. Jonathan and I work great together. There's nobody else in the sport where I think can speak on behalf of racquetball the way I see it today and the way it has to go forward, more than the way I feel about when Jonathan and I speak of it. We always want to do something different. That's not always easy for everyone in our sport. It's a traditional, a lot of old school minds, me included. But we open it up, and hopefully it's a concept and an idea that will truthfully highlight how great our sport is, how great the professional players in our sport are, and ultimately at the end of the day, Leo, continue to help us as a sport survive and then eventually thrive. This is something I'm big on. We see all the time, what does racquetball need? And Jonathan, I know you don't even respond, and I can't respond to that because the list starts from here and ends over in California, across the country as far as what we need to do. But one of the target, markets that I really think would enjoy something like this is the college, the universities. There's courts there. We're going to make it exciting. If I could get college kids to love racquetball, they're going to continue to play. They're going to have families. Their kids are going to play. And that cycle starts over. That all of us, really the reasons why and how we started. And I think that Major League Racquetball, this type of an event concept idea, Jonathan, will definitely raise some eyebrows and bring some interest into it. And with the support of Keith Miner, KWM Gutterman, and saying, hey guys, let's do the inaugural over here at Game Changers in Chicago in the summertime. Jonathan and I are not going to do it too quickly. We're not going to force feed it. We talk about it. We could do it right now. If we wanted to, we could do it right now. It won't be right. Won't be the way we wanted to. Won't be professional. We won't have all our T's crossed, I's dotted. So we're gonna plan this out the right way, and we'll work our asses off, and hopefully it'll be, I know, what we envision. for everyone.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, cleared the air, I think. I think we cleared the air. Not a competing tour. I know I keep saying it, but go back. And if you didn't get to see this live, go back and watch it. Listen to Jonathan, how this thing started and how we got to this point. I don't know. When can we do another update, Jonathan? I mean,
I'm going to answer that
what's
the same.
next?
I'm going to say answer that the same way I'll answer every question I get asked about this when it comes. There's going to be this is a good first step. I mean, not even a first step. We're well past first steps. This is a good announcement. Now the key is putting the details together, figuring out the nuts and bolts of this thing. And I think, conversations like this, we can tie them into as announcements come. There's going to be announcements of teams, owners, players, drafts, structure, dates, rules. I mean, the announcements are unending. So as those things come together, if it's natural to hop on and talk about them, or if a new person gets involved and we want to bring that person on, great. For right now, summer 2024. And I think the biggest thing to come out of this is if you are interested in being involved in any way, reach out to one of us. We're going to keep call it a database together of people, of how you want to be involved, whether it's owner, team, venue, player, whatever. Reach out to us, let us know, because that's the important thing right now is developing the team that's going to be a part of this event. And when I say the team, that's the owners and the players. The team is right here. It's Sudsy and I. This is our brainchild. Good, bad, or indifferent. This is our brainchild. If we're sitting there in Chicago next year and everyone boos us out of the building, I'm gonna take every boo. Okay, it's our brainchild. So the team is what happens underneath it that we hope we can provide a great platform for.
Great. Suds, any words?
I'm good.
Go.
Thank you both. Yeah, thank you both for jumping on. Thank you, Keith Miner, for your nonstop support. Appreciate that. The fans, everybody that's texted us, messaged us, anybody that's involved, you know how to get a hold of us. There's so much more to come on this. And Jonathan and I are going to go change some diapers. Leo, you're going to go take Chewy for a walk, and we're all doing something for racquetball today. So we appreciate really that you jumped on with us. We see some good numbers out there. Go share the feed. Go talk about it. If you have any questions, let us know. Like Jonathan said, get a hold of us right away. We are going to have 4 teams, but like I said, I think Keith already owns one. He's locked into one. So thank you, Leo. Yeah,
I'm going to go work on that. Yeah, I'm actually going to go work on that. Treasure Coast Series number 9. Make sure you guys get signed up. It seems like every time we talk about it, post about it, we get more entries. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a capacity sellout, but boy, I tell you, we're getting entries every single day. So don't wait. Don't run that risk. We could probably take, 70, 80 people, but get in there, get signed up, go to sudsymonchik.com. If you need a doubles partner, let us know. We'll find you a partner. I know that's sometimes difficult for people. They want to play, but they don't have a partner. So we'll do whatever we can to get you guys in there and signed up. 3 divisions for this tournament, huh? People can sign up for 3.
3 divisions. We're using 4 courts. Juniors, you're free. So any kid, anybody out there that wants to play, come on out, and you don't have any entry fee.
Totally free. I love that. And also, just a couple more sponsors for the event. If you're local or you're coming in from out of town, reach out to Suds and I. It'd be a great way for you to show some support and some love for the tournament. So
that's it. All right, Jonathan, thank you so much. Leo, thank you as always. Simone, I know you were somewhere. I guess
she jumped on the phone. She told me to use my phone to read the comments. She's all over it.
Simone's our producer, Jonathan. You know Simone. All right, everybody, stay tuned. A lot more Major League Racquetball coming up. We're not a professional tour. We're a kick-ass, exciting event that's going to promote racquetball and promote the players. So after this quick commercial, we're out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jonathan.
You got it.